Hey, podcast listener, even if you are alone in your entrepreneurial journey, know that today, right now in your earbuds, you are joined by thousands of entrepreneurs from all around the globe seeking to grow better, more profitable, location-independent businesses. If you'd like to learn more about what we do and download our entire back catalog, check out TropicalMBA.com. Ian, before we start with today's show, I want to ask you, what is your holiday tradition?
It's complicated, but what I can say is the last couple of years...
Wait, what does that mean? What does it mean it's complicated? Does this mean you've got some family drama going on?
No, it just means that the idea of the holidays is complicated. I mean, it depends like what kind of religion you subscribe to. It depends the people you're around. I mean, I just feel like we lived in simpler times when we were kids, you know? Now it's like, you know, you may or may not have a Christmas tree regardless if you're Christian, you know? Maybe you have a menorah and you're not even Jewish. I mean, it's very, especially if you live in LA. It's very complicated these days. One thing that's been consistent in my life the last couple of years is we've gotten a Christmas tree, a live Christmas tree at our house. And that's really nice because growing up, I had a fake Christmas tree. Yeah, now I get to smell the tree and it's nice.
Today, I wanted to use the trope of one holiday tradition, this song I used to sing in school. It's called The 12 Days of Christmas. I don't know if you know this song, boss man.
I didn't go to that kind of school, but I know the song.
Well, I thought it would be fun to use this song and to rewrite it as the 12 days of an entrepreneur's Christmas. Use it as a chance to talk about some of the things that we would like to get from our business for Christmas. And maybe just, you know, share some of the commonalities that entrepreneurs experience around the holidays. You up for it?
I'm up for it.
Let's do a fun one. Something casual. I know you got a lot to do for the holidays. So we thought it would be fun to use these points just to share some things that maybe we're thinking about in our business, and some are just fun. So let's go through them 1 to 12. Ian, what's your first Christmas wish?
On the first day of Christmas, my business gave to me
one accountant that's looking out for my business as much as they're looking out for theirs.
Okay. Because you've written a lot about this, yeah?
Yeah, and I think we're on the right path finally. You know, around this time of year, October, November, I start to make financial projections for what my tax situation is going to look like. And it's really good to be able to sit down with your accountant and figure out how much money you're going to make in that year. And then also try and figure out ways that you can be creative, right? So a lot of companies at the end of the year, they try and acquire other companies. They try and prepay their bills, things like this, so they can minimize their taxable situation. For me, next year, I would really like to start that process even earlier in the year. I'd say the beginning of the year, and operate the whole year like I have been operating the last 2 weeks, which is basically in a panic here trying to figure everything out.
And basically the idea is that a lot of accountants are just trying to finish their job, like finish off your account for the year, get you to sign the papers, invoice you. And what you're saying is that you really want someone to be on your side.
Yeah, I think we want a team member next year.
On the second day of Christmas, my business gave to me.
Now, this is a fun one, Dan, but wouldn't it be nice to have 2 matching Porsche GT3s?
Do you remember when we used to like Google these back in 2005 and compare notes over the dream cars that one day we'd buy? Well, why haven't you gone out and bought something and so fancy?
Because it would be irresponsible. But maybe 2017 is all about being irresponsible. We'll have to see.
Let's put it on the record. What is your current dream car? Since everybody knows you love cars so much.
I don't know about dream car because I feel like it's pretty attainable, but I would like to have a Porsche GT3. That's the ultimate Porsche, and I'd like to have a 6-speed. So, you know, the new ones are pretty sophisticated, but they're also pretty big cars.
By the way, I just want to jump in here and say, at this point, the episode could go one of 2 ways. You could continue on for an hour longer. Dude,
I'll just say it right now. 2007 GT3 RS in green. There it is. Send it to me, please.
On the third day of Christmas, my business gave to me.
Well, my wish then is 3 new sources of income. because someone's got to pay for these Porsches that they're going to be sitting in your driveway in a few years. I think we kind of spent the year relaxing. Even some of the episodes where we were talking about, our hobbies, the things that you've been getting into, the home, the beautiful home that you bought and have basically restored, it seems. And I think for us, 2017 is the year of getting back on the horse and thinking about new business ventures.
Yeah, we're going to have to. Those Porsches aren't going to pay for themselves.
Speaking of expensive gizmos, it wouldn't be an entrepreneur's Christmas unless you can give that special someone the perfect gift.
Who?
And by perfect gift, I mean appropriate tax write-off. It's like every entrepreneur knows this. Around Christmas time, you're always in the mall or on the internet pulling out that business card thinking, well, I could put a logo on the side of X gift for whomever.
I could etch in the inside of my girlfriend's ring a DC logo. Yeah. I think that would work.
I don't think it would be inappropriate at all for me to put a TropicalMBA Podcast logo on the side of my racing car.
On the fourth day of Christmas, my business gave to me.
My next Christmas wish is 4 business podcasts that don't all interview the same people. Now, I don't listen to so many business podcasts nowadays, and that's not because I'm not interested in business. It's because I have a hard time finding shows that don't feel just like people simply promoting what it is that they're doing in the business world, trying to get people on board with their program, with their way of thinking, or just interviewing people that are easy to interview because they want to come on a show and share their message and maybe sell their stuff. And I'm not hating on that, but the reason I'm bringing it up, boss man, is it would be really cool if some people would come into the comments of this episode, TropicalMBA.com/Christmas, and let us know what podcast you're really inspired by this holiday season. I'm ready to go into my iTunes, Ian, and download some new shows and get some new perspectives in my ears next year.
On the 5th day of Christmas, my business gave to me.
5 things I want in 2017, Dan. How about 5 tax holidays to repatriate all that offshore money? And it's not just me.
Do these things actually happen?
They do happen. Yes. We'll have to fact check this. I don't think they've actually happened since the Obama administration has been in place, but Trump might do something like that. He seems pretty pro-America, pro-American labor, and trying to get companies to stay here and not do business offshore. So it wouldn't surprise me if in the next 4 years there was a tax holiday.
On the 6th day of Christmas, my business gave to me.
My next wish would be 6 new delivery and discovery platforms for great podcasts and blogs.
You're pretty passionate about this podcast thing. You got a podcast?
I get mocked for my passion sometimes, and sometimes it's hard to be the one that's passionate. No, I love podcasts, man. I'm even a bigger fan of podcasts than I am of doing one. A lot of podcasters, I hear people say, oh, I don't even listen to podcasts. I just do it because it's good marketing or whatever. But I was here because I was a fan of podcasts, Podcasts got me to work on my commute. I still, every day, when I take a break from my desk, I'll go take a walk and listen to a podcast. And so for me, it's difficult to find new shows on iTunes. For some reason, iTunes kind of sucks. And it just feels like that's kind of what we're stuck with right now. And I know we've been saying this for years. It's still my Christmas wish, Ian, that maybe that ecosystem would improve in 2017. Podcast fans would have new, interesting ways to listen to and share audio content. As an aside, and I know we're having a rosy episode here, but it wouldn't be an entrepreneur's Christmas unless your major client and or customer sent you an angry email.
Right before the holidays.
The night of your party, you're probably at your in-laws in a itchy Christmas sweater. And that's when you get the notification that your biggest client is probably at a similar party and taking it out on you.
On the 7th day of Christmas, my business gave to me.
7 things I want next year, Dan. And this is getting a little ridiculous. I mean, the numbers are going up, but do I really want 7? I'm not sure.
Stick to the program, man.
7 business conferences I'd actually want to go to, besides ours, of course. So I was talking with Eamon from AppSumo. He was at my house actually last night, and he said that SumoCon went over really well, and they're going to do it again next year. And unfortunately, I missed that, but it was in Austin. But those seem like my people. I think I would have a good time at that conference. So there's two. There's ours, and then there's SumoCon. And then I like, although I haven't been invited, Andrew, to E-commerce Fuel. That's the third. So I think we just need 4 more good business conferences that are worth going to.
On the 8th day of Christmas, my business gave to me.
This is the time when we have the talk. All right. No more ranchette speak.
Boss Man's recent purchase of a ranchette in Texas. Ranchette in Texas. So, Ian, you've promised us updates on the ranchette and continue to receive updates from Ian about the ranchette. We still calling it the ranchette?
That's what you guys call it. We're going to call it something else. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's a derogatory term as far as I'm concerned.
It is my understanding that you hosted your first DC Junto at your esteemed residence last night. How'd it go? How did people take it in? Because all the hype on the show about what you're up to, did people enjoy the environment you've created?
I think so. I mean, it's not completely done. We had a fire pit going. No one tried to jump over it, so that was a little bit disappointing. And we also had hot chocolate with an array of liquors that you could spike your hot chocolate with. And we had cookies. And yeah, it was a very nice time. So I'm glad that everybody came.
On the 9th day of Christmas, my business gave to me
9 E-residencies. Why not, Ian? You know, I didn't think E-residencies were all that really big of a deal. I almost thought they were gimmicky. And that's until we did the Estonia episode. And it really changed my mind. And I think this stuff's cool. I'm hopeful that more countries get on board with this kind of thing. I've actually been in some phone calls over the last few days talking to even more entrepreneurs that are taking advantage of programs like Estonia's all around the world just to make running a business about providing great products to your customers and not about doing all the BS on the back end that we often have to do because countries demand it of us.
And I want to say this because I don't think you'll say it for yourself, but you and your girlfriend are in this unique situation. You know, she's Filipina and you're American, and you're both trying to have a life in Spain because that's where you guys are the happiest. And it's very difficult, from what I see, for you guys to have that kind of relationship there. I mean, you're constantly away from each other because of the way that the visas are overlapping. And that sucks, man. You are more than willing to pay taxes in that country. You're more than willing to participate. And I think whatever it takes, right, to make that work. And these countries just aren't set up for it.
They're not set up to have an inter-passport relationship going on. They look down on that kind of thing.
On the 10th day of Christmas, my business gave to me
10 days of cycling in the Pyrenees. Speaking of girlfriend, I might not have one anymore if I tell her about this little trip I got coming up in June.
Are you going?
I'm going, man. It's actually happening.
Wow.
If you don't know, the Pyrenees are the classic mountains that the Tour de France cyclists race on every year, along with the Alps. So part of the race is in the Pyrenees, part of the race is in the Alps. And the Pyrenees happen to be 2.5 hours away from my front door. And so me and a bunch of friends are going to pack up our bikes and go on something called a credit card tour, which means that you pack just the minimum amount so you don't make your bike too heavy. It's not like a touring bicycle. We're taking race bikes. But at night, we'll use our credit cards to check into a hotel and clean our clothing so the next morning we're out and we're light. Yeah, I'm looking forward to riding my bike on some of the most iconic climbs in the world, and I think it's going to be a absolute blast. And these mountains are high too, so we have to wait until June until the snow gets cleared in order to ride through.
You're definitely going to have to go to K Jewelers after that trip and get your girlfriend something nice. I think if I was her, I'd be very upset.
On the 11th day of Christmas, my business gave to me
11% lower churn. And I don't know why we picked 11. It just, again, it goes with the song. But doesn't everybody want lower churn in their business?
Everybody wants lower churn. If you're selling lower churn, people are going to buy it. That's what people want for this holiday season, I think. Everywhere I look, people are talking about their churn. It's really a theme. I think because so many people have got into the recurring revenue model, because you hear about the success stories, you see the business model's strengths. And, you know, especially at DCBKK this year, I was talking to so many people who built software tools that are really taking off. But the next sentence is always, I got a really big churn problem. It's interesting because you can kind of see the problem coming down the tracks, and it's really unclear what to do about it.
By the way, the newest thing now is you just don't start counting your churn until you want to start counting your churn. It's like the first 3 years, you're like, yeah, we're in startup building mode. We don't have to count our churn yet.
On the 12th day of Christmas, my business gave to me.
Well, finally, a whimsical one. I'd like 12 new bikes. Why not?
12?
Okay, just one. One of the advantages to being a cyclist and not a race car driver is that you can go out and buy the dream bikes, and they're actually not that expensive, relatively speaking. So that's exactly what I've done for Christmas.
I actually understand the 12 bike thing, because here's what happens. You need a bike to ride to the grocery store, which is your junker. You lock up, right?
Yep.
You need a training bike. You need a race bike. You need a bike to ride down to the beach. You need a winter bike. You need a bike for your girlfriend. You need a bike for when your mom visits. It makes perfect sense to me.
We hoped you enjoyed our ideas for a distinctly entrepreneurial holiday season. We'd love to hear about yours. You can leave them in the comments at this one, tropicalmba.com/Christmas. We read every single comment. Also want to say happy holidays to everyone out there, and thanks to everybody for listening, sticking around, and commenting this year.
And a special thanks to Harrison Kane, our engineer on the show. He is the one that produced the lovely music that you hear this week, and he also did the singing.
Yeah, HarrisonKane.com. He's a boss. Check it out. Give him a link-see. As a Christmas gift to the listeners, we bestow upon to you our greatest mistakes. Yes, it's time to share the TMBA blooper roll, which I was not fully aware this existed until recently.
And I think Harrison was very generous here. There was a lot more.
There was a lot more that he could have done. Thank you, Harrison and Jane, for helping us to produce the show and for not wheeling out the really horrible bloopers and for deleting them permanently off of your computers.
See y'all next year.
See y'all next year. You wrote for Dirtbag magazine back in the day.
Dirt Rag.
Dirt Rag. Well, Dirtbag.
You might have
My,
I sat down to talk about some of these issues with Alan Rothenbucher. I think it's Rothenbucher, right?
How didn't you get that? You didn't ask him?
I can't remember.
It's a good thing to ask him, but
Yeah. Say Alan from Ice Miller LLP.
Okay.
But it will be wrapped in my tool, which will give it some extra features.
by the way, you should re-say wrapped in my tool. You can't say that. This is a family show, Simon.
What did I say?
You know, tool is slang for you can't say that, man. You gotta say it will be.
I didn't like that.
Because when you're in a bar, it's like, oh, I'm willing to talk about just about anything. Obviously, I'm wasting my life here sitting in front of this drink. So, come on. No, sorry. Let me start that over.
They took stimulants so they could stare at the screen longer. Oh, boy. Got off track there. What are we talking about? And it's cool to see that Esther's made a career out of that.
Yeah, I mean, most of us just develop a drug habit. So,
Are we going to leave that?
I think it's all right.
That hurts. That's probably true. That'll be for the Christmas episode.
So you want to stop this?
Hey, thanks for listening to the Tropical MBA Podcast. You can go to TropicalMBA.com, get access to hundreds of back episodes and all kinds of other goodies. Load up your iPod. That is the cheapest way to fly business class on your next international flight. We will see you next Thursday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.